Howdy y'all, it's Ryan from RNA Music, and it's time for a quick lesson video on the guitar. You gotta learn your notes, man. Lady, circle, people, y'all, learn your notes. So I'm going to show you guys something, and girls and circles, something I've been teaching a lot of my students lately that I feel like is a pretty important thing to know as a guitarist, but also something that's pretty overlooked by guitarists. All right, now, don't get your feelings hurt, but I'm going to make some general statements about guitar players, of which I am also guilty, so I'm not picking on anybody. But generally speaking, a lot of guitar players are fairly musically illiterate and ignorant of knowing the names of their stinking notes on their instrument. Right now, illiterate and ignorant does not mean dumb. It just means information you don't know. I find it really crazy as a multi-instrumentalist and someone who went to school to get a degree in music and to teach band, to teach kids how to play the stinking clarinet and the trumpet and that kind of stuff, and also being a piano player. Like pretty much every instrument I know other than guitar, most of the players, you said, hey, play a B flat, they can play a B flat. Play a D sharp, they can play a D sharp. All right, play a couple different ones, they can do it. Piano is super easy. I mean, finding your notes and their names is super easy on piano. Granted, on the guitar, it's a little more complex finding your notes by their actual note names than a lot of other instruments. So we gotta give it to guitar players. It's like, hey, it's a little more complicated than just looking at your piano keyboard. For sure, it's much more complicated. But there's a couple of ways you can go about this. I've done videos in the past about learning your notes on the guitar. And a couple of tricks, like learning the names of the notes on the frets, like the 3rd fret, 5th, 7th. There's a pattern there, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Did I do that right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh yeah, G, A, B flat, C, D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Right, there's some patterns. You can do that. You can learn your octave shapes, like there's a C, there's a C, there's a C, there's a C, there's a C. Your kind of pentatonic caged octave shapes. You know, but you're still learning based on shapes, you know what I mean? And that's kind of natural on the guitar. The guitar is a shape-based instrument when it comes to learning it. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I feel like you should be able to find some notes. So I'm going to give you some tips today. This is what I show my students. This is something I practice too. A really good exercise is just pick a note. Let's stick with the natural notes. No sharps or flats, just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, natural. We're going to start with the natural notes and we're going to map those out on each string. And this is something you can do over the course of weeks, months. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can't do it all in one sitting. But here's the example. So we're going to take the C, a C note, which commonly on the piano, middle C is kind of the first note you learn on the piano. It's typically the first note in music notation on the piano that you learn. It's right in between the treble clef and the bass clef. It's right there in the middle C. So we're going to start with C, right? And so what I want you to do, what I encourage you to do, you can do whatever the heck you want to do, but what I encourage my students to do is like, we're going to find a C on each string. So we're going to start with the 6th string. I'm going to refer to these strings with their numbers, right? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just because we're finding letters. If I said C on the E string, that would be a little confusing. But if I said play a C on the 6th string, that makes sense, right? Of course, if you don't know where that is, I'm going to show you. There is a C on the 8th fret of the 6th string. So there's a C right there. 8th fret, 6th string, C. tell my students, all right, play me a C on the 5th string. And that one should be easy to find, because if you know your cowboy chord, your cowboy C chord, well, there it is. It's the lowest note of our cowboy C chord, right? So there's a C on the 5th string, 3rd fret. A lot of times I'll have them go back. All right, now play me a C on the 8th fret. Play me a C on the 6th string. Cool, play me a C on the 5th string. C on the 6th. C on the 5th. C on, everybody knows that one. Most guitar players can find that one. They may not know that one. All right, so we've got our 6th string C, 5th string C, 4th string C. It's right there on your 10th fret. 10th fret of your 4th string is a C. All right, then I'll go backwards. 4th string C, 5th string C, 6th string C, 5th string C, 4th string C, 5th string, 6th string, C, 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 right? Go back and forth, get those stuck in your brain, get those frets. And I would look at the fretboard as you do that. Because we're trying to visually, when we look at the fretboard, we just don't see frets and their numbers. We start to see the actual notes. That's useful. All right. 3rd string. There's a C on the 5th fret. 5th fret, 3rd string, there's a C. If you didn't know that, now you do. C, 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 right? Don't go that fast. 6th string C, 5th string C, 4th string C, 3rd string C, so on and so forth. 2nd string C. You should know that. It's 1st fret, because again, cowboy C. It's right there in your cowboy C chord. There's a C. 2nd string, B string. There's a C. Great. That one's kind of a gimme. Like, you should know that. And you should know your 5th string, C, because those are part of the C chord. That pretty much everybody knows. Right, now your 1st string, you already know. Because if you know the names of your notes on your 6th string, 8th fret, 6th string, there's a C. Well, your 1st string, or your high E string, it's going to be the same. Because those are both E strings. E, E. So if you know the names of the notes on the 6th, you know the 1st. If you know the names of the notes on the 1st string, you know the 6th as well. So in reality, you really only have to learn the names of notes on 5 of the strings, because 2 of them are the same. And what I would encourage my students to do is just from the open up to the 12th fret. Don't worry about 13th fret and above, because if you know all these, you know all these. You've learned them. So that's the tip. Go back and forth, C on the 1st string, C on the 2nd string, C on the 3rd string, C on the 4th string, C on the 5th string, C on the 6th string. Now what you're going to notice, and this is one of the idiosyncratic things about guitar, some of these C's are the same. Like this C on the 6th string is the legit exact same C. Same pitch. If it was written on music notation, or if it was on the piano, it would be 1 button. It's the exact same C. Exact same pitch. Same register. Different location, because that's how the stinking guitar works. Now, this C on the 10th fret, this C on the 5th fret, the C on the 1st fret, 2nd string, 1st fret, those are all the same C. And that's what's problematic about reading sheet music sometimes on guitar, is you've got the exact same note on paper in in 3 locations. You do not have that problem on the piano. That note is one button and one button only on the piano. So, it is more complicated on the guitar to memorize the placement of the notes. But you can absolutely do it. Start with C. Spend a day, 5 minutes before your normal practice routine. Just go through and play and say all the C notes on all 6 strings. Right? You can do that for 2 days in a row before you move on. After you get really comfortable, you can locate any of those 6 C's, just spitting them out. You got it easy in a day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, doesn't matter. Then go on to the B's, which if you know C, B is super easy to find because it's just 1 fret below that. It's a half step between B and C. So B natural is 1 fret below your C. So if you know where all these C's are, second string, of course, would be open. By default, you can find the B's really quickly. So it's been a couple of days playing and saying the B's. From then, you can go to A if you want to. I like to move to D next, because if you know where C is, D is a full step or 2 half steps or 2 frets higher than the C. So if you know where the C is, and you should by now, it'll be deeply ingrained, then go through and hit those D's. Does that make sense? This is something I teach my students. We're working on. Again, can you play your favorite songs without knowing that? Yes. Can you read off tablature without knowing that? Yes, absolutely. Is it necessary to know that to become a great guitar player? No, it's not necessary. Is it useful to be a knowledgeable musician? I think so. If you play in a group, and I have some students who play in bands that are led by piano players, maybe they're in a church band, maybe they're in some kind of other band. If you're trying to communicate with your piano player and they ask you to play something, they say, play me an E flat. And you're like, and they go, no, not that one. Play the next one up. Next one up. And they're like, bro, that's the same note. No, I mean the next. That's the same note, bro. And you're like, what E flat? In communicating. It's useful for communicating. It's also useful, let's say you get a chord. This has happened to me. I'm playing something like, there's a G6 in here, and I think, what the crap is a G6? That's not ingrained in my brain. I'm like, well, what's the 6? 5th is a D. What's the 6 from G? Well, that's an E. All right, so that's a G chord. What do I gotta do to make that a G6? Well, I've got to add an E natural to it. Well, where's the easiest? Oh, well, there's the easiest E natural to get to. So there's how to make that G a G6. Part of that's knowing a couple of things. It's knowing intervals, but it's also knowing the names of the notes that you're playing. So something I think is useful, and if you're interested in knowing that, give it a shot. Most people are super overwhelmed because the guitar neck is so just dumb. The way it's laid out is not visually apparent in the way that, say, a piano keyboard is. So it's a little awkward, to say the least. But is it doable? Sure, absolutely. I have definitely used that in situations where I'm playing a chord and I got to alter that chord in some way, and I'm like, well, crap, I know I need to add an F to this chord. Where's an F? And the closest to where this position is. Oh, there's an F. Oh, okay, there it is. That gives me that chord. So give that a shot. This is something I go over with my students. And there's more than one way to learn the notes, the actual note names on the guitar. This is just one I find useful. You could pick one note per week. There's only 7 natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can spend a week hitting all the C's. The next week, hit all the B's, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Just drill them. And in 7 weeks, 7 short weeks, you've mapped out every stinking natural note on the fretboard. I wouldn't even bother with the sharps and flats, because if you know where the naturals are, finding the sharp or the flat is easy. If you know this is a C, C sharp is there. If you just need a C flat, it's right there. So map out the natural notes and you've really gone a long ways to seeing the notes on your instrument, which is a fairly common thing for most musicians, most instrumentalists. Call out a note name and they can play it multiple ones. Something I think is worthwhile. Give it a shot if you want to. If you don't, forget it. Just keep playing shapes and numbers and frets and strings. And got tabs, bro? Get you some. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, please leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up. If you're interested in more lesson videos, please subscribe. I'm gonna try to do some more quick and dirty ones. Stuff that I teach students locally, I'm gonna start sharing with you guys and girls on the YouTube. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep the music alive. Don't forget, we need the music. We need the music. You need the music. We need to keep it alive for the next generation. All right. See y'all next time. Bye.